Welcome to WhoDooTV Live. We're talking new comic books for July 18th. And today is a good day because we have a special guest with us. But first off, I'm Hoosier, and my special guest, you've seen him before. It is me not putting my thing on. And it is Eric. Eric is with us. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't have my microphone on mute. Eric, thanks for joining us, man.
Yo, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be back on the Hoodoo TV show.
Oh, man, we love having you on. So it's been a weird couple weeks. Not really weird, but a lot's been going on, it seems like. And now we just got a bunch of silence because of the time of year.
True story.
You know, it's been a weird,
SDCC.
right? Pre-San Diego Comic-Con stillness. But there was actually one thing that was really cool. You're not on the Twitter universe, are you?
No, I don't. Honestly, like legitimately, I've tried, and it's hard enough and stressful enough to keep up with like Facebook and the tiny bit of Instagram that I care about. So to like go any further in the social media world is just it's not going to happen.
I gotta show you something then. Let me see if I can find it, see if I can pull it up for you. Somebody named Dinesh posted something from South Africa recently, and actually totally just thought about this. You and I were talking prior to the show about what's been going on, and I want to pull this up so you could take a look at it, and you can give me your idea of what you think this might be. Take a look at the big meat carcass on the ground.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's in South Africa getting ready to film something.
Yep. Yeah, I'm guessing Bloodshot's about to eat something.
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's about time for some protein for Bloodshot. So
Seems about the only thing I can think of.
yeah, I think it's kind of cool to start seeing props and things like that come up. I mean, he said it's fake; it's not real meat at all, but it is a big carcass. I believe it's for Bloodshot, so I think it's kind of awesome that there's things like that coming up. That's about the only real crazy thing that I saw recently come up in the news. Have you heard anything else outside of anything?
Not really. I mean, especially like that Valiant related stuff. I mean, since we found out that Quantum and Woody is still potentially in production, and the news just talking about the little casting stuff that has come out about the Bloodshot movie, and then the fact that it's going to start filming in the beginning of August. That's about everything that I know about it. What I'm really just waiting for is to start seeing set photos of Bloodshot or in, you know, I don't know how long it'll take, too long, but eventually we'll start seeing, official pictures of Bloodshot, and that's what I'm really excited for.
Yeah, it is exciting to know it's coming around and knowing that is, really just around the corner until we can start seeing Vin Diesel in Bloodshot. And then, I mean, who knows how long they're going to save that image. But hopefully something gets leaked, Knowing Dinesh, maybe something will. Cross our fingers. That's been it. And there was one other one that I can't remember what it was. Oh, Dinesh posted recently about an eBay with Bloodshot chainsaw, basically telling people you should pick this up on Twitter as well. So kind of goes in that says like the Acclaim area with chainsaw.
Yeah, I think it was Bloodshot. It was 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember for sure.
Yep. So that's coming around the corner too. And then there was recently, I think it was Bleeding Cool, or a couple different posts came up about the new variant of Bloodshot Rising Spirit that they are going to announce at San Diego Comic-Con, a new one-of-a-kind, whatever variant that's never happened before. And that leads to speculate, what is it going to be? We've had our middle covers. We've had our variant. Any ideas on your end?
I have literally no ideas whatsoever. I genuinely can't imagine what new thing they have. Um, I mean, I never would have thought of anybody printing a metal comic book cover, so I'm sure, whatever next thing they've cooked up is going to just be unconventional and weird and yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know the metal covers and then the variants, but makes you wonder what hasn't already been done, because I don't believe there's a whole lot that hasn't already been tried. I'm pretty sure Wildcats tried whatever they could in the 90s, so I don't know. Yeah. Of those, I know Bloodshot's your favorite comic. Which of those covers was your favorite?
Like the metal covers?
Yeah.
Bloodshot. I mean, obviously. The Harbinger Wars 2 one looks awesome,
Yeah.
but I I like the Bloodshot one more because I actually have one of those. I don't have any of the other metal covers, so I
Nice.
love the Ninja K one just because that series is so good, but the cover itself isn't like
Yeah.
the best.
I freaking love that cover, actually, with the stars flying at you in that middle look. But
I think it's a really cool cover for sure. It's not like a bad cover, but I just think in terms of uh, the rest of the rest of the ones available, like that, Livewire on the Harbinger Wars 2 one, I think is amazing. The Bloodshot one looks so fucking cool. That Nico Sawyan
yep.
image that he drew. Even the XO one is just so iconic looking. Whereas like just in that company, the Ninja K1 doesn't look as cool. On its own, it's a super awesome cover though.
I agree. Jason Falter says Eric is such a huge Bloodshot fan. Dinesh should fly into South Africa for a walk-on part of the movie. That would be a mass fandom right there. That is fan service, man.
I would love to do something like that, but I guarantee it could never happen. But if there was a day where like I had an opportunity to like do anything of that sort, yeah. I mean, even if I could just meet Vin Diesel, I still haven't met JDF, the Bet in the Sun Bloodshot.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that would be awesome, man. I mean, I would never say never. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Yeah. Oh man. Well, let's get into. Was there any books recently that you've read that you wanted to call out prior to this week?
So something that I talk about all the time, and I know you and I have talked about, is the book Kill or Be Killed.
Oh gosh.
It ended recently. I actually still haven't read the last issue because I've been going back through the whole series. So far, I read the first 3 trades, and I just need to read the last arc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so ridiculously good. If you like any kind of like crime noir with, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it it's its own book. Like there's nothing else. Like even the stuff that Brubaker and Phillips have done together before doesn't quite compare to what they've done with Kill or Be Killed. It's the way that like you feel like you're having a conversation with the main character. Like he's explaining the story to you. Like
He just totally takes off that third wall, you know?
yeah, and it doesn't feel like somebody. It feels like you're sitting down with Dylan, the main character, and he's telling you this story, but he's not a very good storyteller, which is a weird thing to say because it's told like it's written amazingly, but it's written in such a way that Dylan seems kind of flaky and like he'll start talking about something and then be like, oh, wait, yeah, you don't know what's going on here. So I got to explain this other thing. And it just makes it really interesting to read. And then the fact that there's, all these other questions. I don't know. That's been my absolute favorite thing. I've been super stoked on that. And then I don't know if there's like a whole lot of other stuff that has really jumped out at me lately, other than, the Valiant stuff that I talk about all the time on Get Valiant.
Yeah, I agree. Kill or Be Killed has been solid. One that, gives out, it's a little different of a story, but it was the one that I think you would enjoy was that Die, 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 Kirkman's surprise hit that came out last week out of nowhere.
Yeah, you definitely piqued my interest on that. I just have to actually get a chance to get a copy and sit down and read it. So hopefully that will happen, and I will get to check it out. But yeah, from what you had said, it sounds interesting.
Yeah, I've dug that. And then I think the other one that I was encouraging you was Deadly Class.
I actually tried that, and I could not get past the art
Yeah,
in the beginning. I It wasn't for me.
it's definitely not a Phillips art, but I kind of like it. Wes Craig is pretty cool. That story just takes a while to get going, but after you get into it, I loved it. I actually picked up the deluxe of that recently. So,
Sure.
and the TV show preview looks freaking awesome. And they're going to do a preview of the full first episode at San Diego for Deadly Class on the Sci-Fi Network. So
Oh wow.
you
Whole
probably would
episode?
like the show. What's that?
They're doing a whole episode?
Yeah, they're going to do a whole episode. They already produced the trailer. The trailer was out. If you go to Sci-Fi Wire or Sci-Fi, they'll show you a preview of a Deadly Class's trailer. But they're going to do the whole first episode at the Comic-Con.
Crazy.
So I think that would be a awesome one. So, and then yeah, I mean all Kirkman stuff I've been reading, but there is a huge void with Kill or Be Killed Gone.
Yeah, it sucks because that's one of the books I've looked forward to the most every month. You know what I mean? Like that's the one that I can't wait to come out, and now I don't have that. So, luckily, I still got a lot of other good books that I'm reading.
Yeah, we'll talk about one of those here in a little bit, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
I am sure. I think it's one that both of us have enjoyed. Every week I try to do one Marvel call out. This week I'm going to call out Captain Marvel. The Life of Captain Marvel #1 hits the shelf this week, and it's getting ready to. Marvel trying to always take advantage of knowing that their movies are coming out soon and get some people in the door with little Carol Danvers and going from there. So that is one. And I know you also had some Marvel books that you were going to be calling out today. What did you get?
Yeah, so coming out tomorrow is Cable 159, and I think I'm an issue behind, so this will put me 2 issues behind. But the reason that I checked out the current Cable run is that the arc being written right now is being written by Lonnie Nadler and Zach Thompson,
Mm-hmm.
who are the writing team that are about to launch the new Bloodshot book that you had mentioned earlier. That's getting some kind of new variant. Yeah, that's the same writing team, and I'm a huge Bloodshot fan, so I was really interested to see what they've done and what their writing style is like. So I went and checked out Cable, and it's been really like I read some of the recent Cable that came out before their run started, and it was okay but not great. And then when their arc started, it was very character oriented. It felt a lot more like a much more engaging story than the other Cable I had read. So I was really excited about that. Um, the other thing that I was going to mention from Marvel is the Immortal Hulk #3. I bought the first 2 issues, and I'm going to be honest, I'm probably not going to stick on that title. But the reason that I'm bringing it up though is that I think people should give it a shot. It turned out not to be for me, but it's actually really well done for what as what it is. And I think that there are a lot of people who, if they gave that one, if you're not normally a Hulk reader, but you like, kind of darker, deeper stories, I think that would be one to take a look at. And you might find, like me, that, it's not one that you care to continue pulling, but I think that there are a lot of people who would check it out that would actually really enjoy it. So Immortal Hulk is another one that's a really interesting take on the Hulk.
Awesome. Awesome. Did you have any other Marvel books that you were pulling out?
I mean, I'm pulling some other stuff. Nothing else that's coming tomorrow, but I've been reading Weapon X, the current run of Weapon X.
Awesome.
And I'm also very strongly considering the new X-23 title that started last week.
That is solid. Cool character, cool art. But yeah, that started last week. One of the titles, I mean, continue with big two. I'm going to go with DC right now. One of the books that I've been pulling that I've enjoyed is Justice League. This is the Scott Snyder's new startup on this. It's number 4. And, you know, again, I mean, people that watch the show know this. The return of Martian Manhunter's got me pumped up. And just where this is going with the League of Doom joining in on this, you know, Scott Snyder is really killing it. And like I say, if you get John Jones back in a book, I am sold. So take my money now. So what about you? Any DC books on your end?
So I'm a massive Batman fan. I have a Batman tattoo. I have a Joker tattoo. I've got tons of Batman stuff and tons of Batman comics. That was actually what got me into comics was Batman. But actually, the only DC that I've been reading lately is the New Age of DC Heroes little kind of sub imprint thing that they're doing. I mean, it's in the main universe, but it's kind of its own separate little thing that has spun out of Dark Knight's Metal. I didn't really enjoy Dark Knight's Metal. I couldn't even get through the whole event, but the stuff that's come out of it, the New Age of DC Heroes, there's some really interesting, fresh books, and the ones that are going to be coming out tomorrow are Damage #7, which is my favorite of all of the New Age of DC Heroes.
That's
And then,
Venditti, right?
yeah, Venditti is writing Damage, and it's definitely like the claims that it's a Hulk ripoff are not unfounded. Damage is very, very similar to Hulk, and but the story has been really interesting. Actually, what I would compare it to, there's a Weapon H title going on right now, the Hulk Verine, and which is Hulk and Wolverine from Marvel, and that's what I would compare this Damage run to. Those two books are pretty similar. And then the other one, like New Challengers #3, that's just been a really like wacky book, but in all like a very not like in a slapstick funny way, but in just a like everything is crazy in that book. And like you just kind of get thrown into this team of characters, and yeah, it's really hard to know what's I shouldn't say hard, but like you don't really know what's going on, but it's still told really well, and you're seeing like different characters' perspectives and things. I don't know. That's a really good book. So those are the two DC books I'm picking up tomorrow that I definitely recommend people check out. If you're not reading the New Age of DC Heroes, you should be.
Dude, I've heard tons of good things, and there's a lot of former Valiant talent on a lot of these, like Justin Jordan doing the Brimstone, right? Curse the Brimstone.
Yeah.
Trying to think, there's a number of them doing a lot of the New Age, and I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but
yeah, Lemire is doing Jeff
Terrific.
Lemire is doing the Terrifics. Carrie Nord is doing art on one of the books. I can't remember which one. But yeah, there's a bunch of former Valiant talent that are working on those books, and they're all really interesting books. I think that they're worth reading, and they're not like, yes, they're DC books, yes, they're set in the DC universe, but they don't feel like I got frustrated with a lot of big two comics, especially the tentpole ones, because nothing ever changes, nothing ever matters to the characters. Whereas these books, like stuff happens, and like yeah, there's some real consequences. Like Brimstone, the most recent issue of that, huge consequences in that book, and it makes it feel it's easier to get invested in it when you know there are real stakes and it's not just going to be a fluff story every time.
Agreed. Getting in on ground floor to some new characters is always kind of fun, and I think that's a great place to go. And kind of going with that realm, talking about Valiant talent, is Matt Kent's book with Dark Horse, Ether. Ether, the Copper Golems, #3. And this is, again, Matt Kent's story tied in with some weird earth and magic, and just how the world of Ether and Earth are just battling out. And it's interesting because Matt's totally talked so many times about how much he hates magic. But yet he's got this book here. He decided to go to he does some awesome things. I mean, going to the dead side with Ninjak when he was doing Ninjak, just going to the unknown, just where everything is not what it seems. Matt does awesome things, and I dig it. And then his mind management read along Kickstarter that's out right now too. Have you seen that?
I have not. No.
He's doing a read along vinyl record Kickstarter for a single issue of mind management. It's been funded a couple times over already, and it's still got like 25 days left. He's killing it on it. He's doing. He just announced that he's doing like some record sleeves and all around really cool project that he's doing. But I dig how Matt does things that are kind of out of his comfort zone, or challenge him, or challenge the genre. I think that's a phenomenal way to do work, way to change it up. So. Yeah, I dig it. So Ether is one that I have for Dark Horse.
I don't think I'm getting into Dark Horse, but from Image, I think this is one you might know about, Magic Order #2.
Yes, Mark Miller. Definitely dig that.
Yeah. The first issue for that was really, really, really good. It was not only was the art super solid and very, very gorgeous, the writing, I don't even know how to describe it. It was the perfect way to just throw the reader into a world and not spend a bunch of time like telling you what this world is like or who these characters are. It was the perfect example of show don't tell. That's how I would describe the Magic Order #1.
He is definitely not a spoon feeder writer. Mark Miller is definitely a professional at what he does, and pretty awesome. I want to see because I know Netflix kind of purchased this a while back, the Miller World. I want to see what they're going to do with this. I think it would be an awesome title. So cool, good call out on that one.
Yeah, I think that book is great. And then another book that I was going to mention from another publisher, from Boom, is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers #29. Josh and I have spent a bunch of time talking about Shattered Grid on the Get Valiant podcast, even though it's obviously not Valiant. When we have a short week or not too much to talk about Valiant related, we usually go to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because, as adolescent as it sounds, and as cheesy as every image you have of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers might be in your head, it actually works so well as a comic. And Kyle Higgins has been doing an amazing job of writing it. So if you have not read any of the current Kyle Higgins run of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that's another one that I highly, highly recommend you go get. You're going to feel dumb when you first pick it up, and you're not going to want to be the guy buying Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, even though he's in his 30s. But you won't be alone, because that's me, and I don't regret a minute of it. It's a great read. Very, very well worth it.
That's awesome. You guys were talking about that. Was it your last episode or the episode before last on Get Valiant?
I think it was the last episode. We had Nick Poffenbarger on, who is the guy that turned me on to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic. He talked about it way back when when it was only a few issues in, and I didn't really pay any attention. He talked about it again, months later, and now the comic is over 2 years in, and it's been an amazing ride the whole time. And the current story happening, Shattered Grid, is massive on a scale that's hard to even explain. It's cosmic and multiversal and just a monstrous event. And that's another one where the stakes are real. It was said before the event started that any Power Ranger could die. Nobody was safe. And there have been no punches pulled in this book. There have been some serious deaths and some serious ramifications for some important characters in the book. So yeah, it's definitely something that is another one that, like I said, I highly recommend people check out.
Awesome. Ink Readable Diaries asks, is there a new Divinity book coming soon? No, there's not, but there is going to be some unknown tie-in to the next EXO arc. So you will get, I believe, whatever Adam, whatever his name was from the Unknown, he will be coming to Exo soon. That's at least what the covers are telling me. So you will be getting a Divinity tie-in to a Exo book really soon, and going from there. So
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I mean, get some more of that. I know all of us would like to see some more Divinity. So
See, my whole thing with that is the fact that Kent is finally taking Auric in that kind of cosmic-esque dimension or direction. And as much as he's had Auric on different planets, it has felt very like a very tight, small scope story in terms of what Exo normally is, like how Venditti portrayed Exo and the consequences that he was dealing with. So bringing in characters from the unknown and divinity related characters to Exo, I think is a great way to kind of expand what that book can be and show what art can do also.
I love that it's going into that realm, that he is doing that. And it's almost like that's what he intended, with all the books that he's been trying to pull out. It's kind of a nice, tie-in that he's doing with his stories. I mean, Divinity and now his Exo series. So it's probably been a long thought out deal for him. So
I'm sure.
Here is one that I'm going to call out. Basically, have you heard of IDW's new imprint, Black Crown?
I heard a little about it, and I've seen the title of this book, but I'm not familiar with what the book is.
I mean, I guess you would pronounce that Euthanautes. This is a pretty cool title. I mean, just from the synopsis here, it says, "Death is like outer space, a seemingly unknowable, terrifying blackness that yields beautiful discoveries. The truth, if only you've got the right kind of rocket ship." So I was brought... Black Crown was brought to my attention by Christopher Sabella because he's got a book coming out soon called House of Muck. That is a pretty cool tie-in. He's talking about the phenomenon of serial killers just coming together and, just a family of serial killers and how that kind of just kind of spreads throughout a family, throughout people. Cool concept. Sounds really cool. I mean, we did that Christopher Sabella interview and he talks a little bit about it. But Black Crown just seems like it's IDW's more adult line of their imprint. And, I'm willing to always give that a try. I mean, there are a lot of... I don't know if they're trying to go directly at Black Mask and keep the name. I'm not sure, but cool title. So I'm going to call that one out.
Cool. Looks interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Have you read this book? This is one that's a cool story, basically set in the not too near future, or not too distant future. Yes, really close. And it's Analog by Jerry Dugan and O'Sullivan, Jody Belair on colors. And it's about basically the world is technology breach everywhere. It's very relevant to the time, much like the Facebook dump that recently happened not too long ago. And this is about how there is no privacy within the internet and everything is out there in the open. You don't really know. Everybody knows what's going on. And then there's a couple people still living analog. They have no technology. They have courier men who basically transport paper documents for you. Very awesome title. Dig in it. I recommend people get into it because it's cool. It's very close to what it seems like the future could be here with where we're at. So, and I love Jerry Dugan's work. So,
yeah, that's something that I've seen, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet.
Ooh, bless you.
Yeah.
One that is also going back into this Valiant Creators. He's doing a little book called Bloodshot Salvation. It's Jeff Lemire's, the recently acquired by Hive Mind, Dinesh's new company, is Gideon Falls, going to be set to be made to a TV show eventually. Gideon Falls #5, dark, horror, awesome thriller. I dig it. It's really dark, and I love Andrea Sorrentino's art. It is really, really good. So,
Yeah, I read the first issue of that when it came out, but I haven't kept up with it, and it's been, 4 or 5 months since that first issue came out.
mhm.
So I don't remember it very vividly, but it's definitely something that I want to sit down and read, but I might have to wait until it's done.
Yep. I recommend getting into that one. So, and then another one of Jeff Lemire's books that I've enjoyed, and it's I believe number 12. He's only got 2 more issues left on it, and it is Royal City. It's going to stop at issue number 14, but this is like I've always just in awe of how Lemire can write a grounded story to a horror story to a 80s action story to superhero story. It's pretty amazing. Royal City, really grounded, slice of life Americana, even though he's Canadian. Awesome book. I'm recommending that. And man, I got a bunch of books to this week. I apologize for everybody, but hopefully you're getting it. I really liked The Weatherman too. I know there's been some chat online that's talking about it, that they may have revealed it too much right away, but I'm hoping that there's even more to come around this. I think there might be more to this story. I'm digging it. I like the characters. I love the art. And I'm hoping that we get to see some more out of it. So far, so good. So love that variant cover on there all the way around. A awesome title there. Have you read number 1 at all?
I have not. I've heard a lot about that book, but I haven't read it yet.
And then I'm going to call out, I don't normally call out a Titans comic book, but I am going to call this one out for sure. This one is called Dead Life, and it is Titan Comics, but it's also a Static Press imprint. And it's the world zombie epidemic has arrived, and this is basically starting how it all started, where it all happened, and what somebody finds in his grandparents' attic, and just what the consequences will be to the start of this zombie epidemic. It looks pretty freaking hoary, and I like it hoary. It looks very horror. I am for that as well. Looks pretty good. And then we can kind of get to the main event, one book that you and I both have talked about. Or do you have any other ones? Am I skipping you?
The only other books that I really am paying a lot of attention to that are coming out are the Valiant ones, other than the ones I've mentioned already.
Cool. And I'm going to call out what people got on the chat. Jason Falter says he's looking forward to Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. Alternate Comics fan, The Weatherman 2, Magic Order, Gideon Falls, East of West, Versus. He's liking these image titles that are coming out. Anybody else put your chat in there? And then I think the one that you were thinking of is like maybe this one right here.
Yeah, that is coming out tomorrow, Ninja K number 9. As far as I'm concerned, Ninja K is the best book on the stands right now. That book is amazing.
I am loving Christos Gage's work, and especially what he's doing with this arc, and just that center cover where you get to see Glad is just freaking awesome in the glare of the sword. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it is a probably one of the best books on the shelf. Gage is doing his deal.
Yeah, and the art has been ridiculous. I was really curious what it would be like having Juan Jose Reap doing art on a Ninjak book, and it works really well. His art for this current arc has been amazing. The direction that, because I thought I had a good idea of what this arc was going to be like when it started, and the way that it's gone was not something I expected at all. And I'm really excited to see how this arc wraps up and then what comes next, because I think whatever's coming next is going to be just as awesome or more so as what's come so far from this title. We're 9 months into this book, and it has not slowed down for a moment since it started, and it started with a bang.
Dude, and Jason Falter says it was excellent. Go by it, near perfect. So good praise there. Yeah, dude, every issue has been awesome. And then just seeing Ryan Wynn post the inks for what he's done over Larry Stroman on the number 10 that's coming out. And it looks like it's another back issue catches up with one of the prior ninjas in the program. So I love this concept and where it's going and how it's tied in. It's freaking great. So
Yeah, it seems like Christos is doing a really good job of playing a long game with this title. He's got this um, overarching story that's kind of taking place somewhat in the background while there are still bombastic and exciting things happening in the foreground. So it's this it feels like there are multiple levels to the story and things are moving at different speeds, and it just makes it really interesting from issue to issue and also important to the character and his world from arc to arc. So yeah, definitely a book that I can't say enough praise about.
that's it. And then we have Elliot Rahal starting the first issue of his full arc. The previous two have just been tie-ins to the Harbinger Wars 2, and this is the beginning of his number 8 with Quantum and Woody. And it's, I guess the synopsis, I haven't read this one yet, but it says all their superpowers are gone, and what do they do without it? So, have you gotten into this one yet?
I don't know about this issue yet. I have not read it. I think I have a review copy of it, but yeah, I haven't read it. But the two issues that Elliot has done of Quantum and Woody so far have been two of the most powerfully heartfelt issues of Quantum and Woody.
Agreed.
And it's like there are two things that you absolutely need in order to make a Quantum and Woody book that's worth anything. And those two things are ridiculous humor
Mm-hmm.
and uh, brotherly love slash hate. Like a lot, you know what I mean? And that's and while there's a fairly small amount of the ridiculous humor so far in Elliot's Quantum and Woody, the amount of heartfelt brother moments and deep emotions that he's been able to put into this book has been amazing. And they're two of my favorite Quantum and Woody issues ever. I got to talk to Elliot um, after that first issue of his run came out, and we were talking about how he's staying away from some of the zany humor. It's still going to have humor, but just not as crazy and zany as what we've seen in the past. And he's going to focus a lot more on the relationship between Quantum and Woody. And to me, that sounds awesome. He's done really well with it so far, and I'm really excited to see where it goes as his run continues.
And speaking of Elliot, I think it's one of the last couple days to order his creator-owned Hot Lunch special.
Yeah.
So, support a Valiant guy that's getting up and going. And I do think he shows a lot of promise. Everything you said, I agree. I mean, I wish there was a little more humor in it because that's Quantum and Woody, but you don't always have to have that. It's not always just a comedy slapstick book. And I like that they're taking some seriousness into it a little bit to add a little bit to these characters.
Yeah. It makes the humor mean more, and I think that that's something that James Asmus did a really good job of bringing heart to the characters.
Right.
But I think that he tipped the scales toward zany humor over that heartfelt core. And I think that Elliot is just taking the other approach. There's still humor in his version of Quantum and Woody, but his scales tip a little bit more toward that heartfelt emotion. And to me, that's a great direction to take these characters. And yeah, I can't wait to see what's next. Also, Joe Eisma was awesome on his Faith run. So I'm really excited to see how he interprets Quantum and Woody. And with as awesome as Elliot's writing has been with this book, I think that him and Joe Eisma, when I heard about the two of them teaming up on this book months ago, I got super excited. So I'm really ready to see the two of them work together.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. And then I think you had a trade you were going to talk about.
Well, there's one other issue coming out from Valiant, and that is Shadow Man number 5. And this book has been absolutely amazing. Shadow Man hasn't had a solo title in quite a long time, and it's because his first solo title of VEI wasn't very well received at the end. So he kind of went through a different journey between some other books, popping up in Ninjak and then the Rapture book, and he even showed up in Bloodshot Salvation. But now Andy Diggle has taken over the character. This is his first, Andy Diggle's first foray into the Valiant universe, and he is absolutely nailing Shadow Man. To me, Ninja K and Shadow Man are two of the best books coming out right now. And I seriously recommend it. Also coming out tomorrow, in addition to Shadow Man 5, is the first volume of Andy Diggle's run, which is Shadow Man Volume 1, Fear of the Dark. And it's an amazing story. It's very New Orleans focused. You can tell that Andy was very serious about staying true to the core of this character and what he considers the most important aspects of the character. And yeah, that first arc was amazing. And the arc that we're getting right now is beyond what I could have imagined he would have been able to do with this character. So this is another one, just like Ninja K. I can't say enough positive. I can't say enough positive about Shadow Man right now.
I mean, I agree. I do think the one interesting thing about this and Ninja K is how they're both exploring the legacy of the character. They're both going back and looking to see how legacy has kind of played its role. Ninja K with all the prior ninjas in the ninja program, and this one kind of going back and seeing the history of the Boniface family that has had the Loa, the history of it. But again, Diggle has taken it to a new direction. He's bringing it back out. I do wish it was a little darker and more horror, with more of the voodoo elements in it. Just I don't know, just darker. Yeah, but I do like it, and that's what Jason Falter just said, that he wants it to have more horror, mystical things to it, and he's just dropped it, which is not a good idea. I don't think it's dropped. I think it's still good, but you know, sometimes if you have a whole bunch of things, you gotta, you know, do what you gotta do. But ultimately, I like it. I like Diggle. I want to see where this goes with his tie-in with what's the one that's coming out in January with him?
Incursion.
Yes, Incursion, and how that is. I mean, because we got basically very little info on that book.
Yeah.
Besides a really weird cover by Jeffrey Verge that is not in the script at all. So,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping to see something different there. So I hope something comes out that way. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree that I can't imagine with what Andy Diggle has done with the Shadow Man book so far and how unexpected it's been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't imagine where he's planning to go next.
Yep. And then the trade is Shadow Man, the first arc of Shadow Man, right?
Yeah, Fear of the Dark. Yep. It's kind of Jack coming back to New Orleans after having been stuck in the dead side for a really long time. His kind of partner plays a really big role in this arc. And yeah, I definitely think it's something. If you haven't been reading Shadow Man, I very highly recommend checking it out and seeing where it's at right now.
I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. Lots of good books with more to come. I'm glad they're picking up Bloodshot right away. I'm glad we're not going to have to wait very long for Bloodshot to have another title coming out, because that would be painful. So
yeah.
And especially with the movie around the corner, or you know what I mean? I think every time you get movie news out there, it's going to probably pick up a little bit of sales. So it'd be crazy not to have that title.
Agreed.
And then I was hoping to still hear one more after Harbinger Wars 2 is over. So I was hoping to still hear one more new book that's coming out. I don't know. I'm still hoping for that. Still crossing my fingers for something. Still wanting a Harbinger title to get something out there, some type of Harbinger title or whatnot to follow up with that. So,
I mean, I'm guessing Livewire is the closest we're going to get to that.
Yeah. What do you think of Lemire only having one more issue left and where number 11 left us off?
I can't imagine what Bloodshot Salvation 12 is going to be like. It's going to have to be absolutely insane. Um, but I feel like everything Lemire has done from the Valiant until now has been an amazing exploration of what a Bloodshot comic can be.
Uh-huh.
But I'm honestly at the point where I'm ready for a new perspective on the character. Not that I think that Lemire's been bad, but I feel like, he's kind of I think that this is a reasonable time for him to leave the character because he's told an amazing, um, well-rounded story that's really expanded on what anybody could have thought the character could be. It's really elevated the character, but I think it's time for a new direction for Bloodshot, and I'm really interested to see what Salvation 12 is like, and then I can't wait for Rising Spirit to start.
I mean, this might be out of base, but right now, Bloodshot reminds me almost like a Old Man Logan Part 2. Like it's in that realm, like of just taking him away from this piece and just kind of exploring the psychological piece of the character more so than the action stories that Bloodshot needs to be in. That I enjoy him more. So, but
Sure.
I think he'll get it going right. So I hope that he finishes 12 out good and puts us in a good place for Zach and Lonnie to go on with Rising Spirit. So
Yeah.
and then where it leaves off, where it jumps off, where this new one comes in, who knows? So, and then Jason gave us some of his wisdom, talking about how Diggle had an interview saying that incursion is going to be Earth and the dead, or with alien invasion of Earth and the dead side. Basically, mystical people protecting dead side, and then the Earth-based power protecting the Earth. He says it sounds like it could be a bigger event than Harbinger Wars 2. Who knows? Maybe it might be. But yeah, thanks for spreading that wisdom on us. So I'm interested in that, man. And then, yeah, outside of that, what do you got going in the next couple weeks that you anything you looking forward to outside of Bloodshot number 12?
Yeah. Just going to continue doing the Get Valiant podcast as Valiant books come out. We'll be reviewing them Thursday evenings. And not a whole lot else.
Nice, nice. Any new trades that people should be looking out for in the next couple of weeks or month of another book that's kind of came out recently? I know you and I have talked offline about new trades that come out, number ones every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't have any new number ones right now that are other than that Shadow Man one. I mean, that's really the big number one right now, volume number one that I would recommend to pretty much anybody to at least check out. And you may find it's not for you, but definitely something that I think is worth reading. And it's only $10, so not
Right?
a huge investment.
Image may have got away with their first issue $10, but Valiant's still doing it, which is awesome. Check that out for sure. And yeah, I want to thank you, Eric, for jumping on, man. Appreciate it. Always enjoy having you on.
Absolutely.
And then everybody jumped on the live chat. Alterna Comics fan Anthony, Jason, Josh, thanks for getting on. Not My Name getting on. Colorado Comic Book Kid, Ink Readable Diaries, Moose, thank you for getting on, dude. And just everybody for jumping on, man. Keep reading, keep enjoying. If you're coming on to this after the live chat, let us know what you're reading. Put that in the comments. Make sure you subscribe here, but also over at Get Valiant. Check those guys out on Thursdays, 7 o'clock my time, your guys' live show, podcast, Get Valiant. Everything Get Valiant plus Power Rangers for 30-year-olds. Or 40-year-olds for Josh now. I think he's getting old. So
he's an old man.
Oh, man. But yeah, check you guys out, man. I appreciate it. And always a big fan of Get Valiant. So clearly why I have you and Josh on the show every once in a while. So
I very, very much appreciate being allowed to come on and chat with you.
we know we dig it, man. So yeah, well, I guess I'll do a Get Valiant thing. Signing off. I'm Hoosier.
And I'm Eric Baumgard.
We'll see you guys.